history of the various printings and so forth. Blow by blow description of measure by measure what the differences are. That's part of a collected works edition, and they're of course all in German. But this project, all those 100, I guess Bärenreiter must have figured we've sold as many sets of this as we're ever going to sell. So they were amenable to selling the digital rights for about $400,000. This is what Packard Humanities Institute gave to the Mozart Foundation to buy digitization rights. So now that has been accomplished. Let's see if I can find it. Digital Mozart edition. Agree to their terms, which essentially means when you find that set of variations for piano, you're a piano teacher, you're not going to copy 20 copies of it for your students. It's for your personal use. The emergence of historical musicology as a legitimate academic discipline in the 19th century, especially in Germany, which was the birthplace, it was validated as an academic discipline by several editorial team projects to systematically organize multi-volume complete collected work sets. Gesamtausgabe means complete edition in German. For each of the canonical composers, the big names, Beethoven, Bach, Brahms, Mozart, Haydn. You know, Shakespeare, there were collected works of Shakespeare, there were collected works of Goethe. In order to legitimize our discipline, we have to have canonic works. So then, this was the 19th century. Refinements in editorial philosophy, advances in the methodology of criticism, and in bibliographic or actually holographic manuscript forensics, studying ink, watermarks, and handwriting analysis, as well as expansion to access of primary sources in the 20th century, then compelled the production of new sets of complete works in critical edition, copious scholarly commentary. So thus for many composers, they're represented both by an older 19th century Gesamtausgabe and a more recent Neue Ausgabe, new edition, made by 20th and 21st century musicologists. Libraries classify these sets as M3s. For Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, there's the Werke, published from 1876 to 1905, and the Neue Ausgabe Sämtlicher Werke, which I passed out in a couple of 127 volumes published by Bärenreiter from 55 through 91. So the funding allowed this to be digitized. The entire critical content, the scores, and the commentary are now served freely over the internet. How does this work? You can search for, well, here's a breakup of how the entire series of 127 individual score volumes breaks down. There are series, and under series, this is like an outline, there are work groups, and under work groups there are volumes. So often musicologists will refer to a particular volume in the Mozart new edition with a Roman numeral / Arabic numeral / Arabic numeral, which reflects this hierarchy of first the series and the work group and finally the volume number, and then really good the page number at the very end. You can search, you can just jump through here and pick something, or if you want to search for a particular work by Mozart for which you know the number, there are work numbers for most composers. Many use opus number. Opus number refers to publication, series, sequence of publication, not necessarily chronological, but some composers have catalog numbers. Mozart uses K numbers for Köchel's Verzeichnis, Köchel's catalog. Schubert has D numbers. Bach has BWD numbers. Those are works numbers. But if you happen to know the work number of something specific, that's the easiest way to find it. I know that Mozart's Symphony number 40 is K550, I'm pretty sure. So I should be able to just put in K550, and then it tells us that it's in Series 4 of the orchestral works, Work Group 11, Volume 9, starting on page 63. And in fact, there are two versions of the symphony, which is something I didn't know, a Erster Fassung and a Zweiter Fassung, the first and the second version. This will then take me to a scan for a screen resolution scan of this symphony, G550. It goes da 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 da. A lot of people know it. If I had a piano, I'd play the tune for you, but I don't have a piano, so you have to bear with me. So here's the screen resolution version. You could also, and it takes several pages. You could also see the critical report. Associated with this is also fairly detailed scholarly commentary in German. And if you wanted to find the critical report associated with that, you can just click on the tab. It takes you, here's the contents of the critical report. And again, it's in German, so you do have to know a little bit of German in order to deal with this. The page expired. I didn't want it to. Let's try another one. There's a particular piece by Mozart for piano. There's the Series 9, piano music. There's a work group consisting of piano variations. Table of contents. Here's a set of variations that Mozart wrote on a French folk tune that Americans know as the variations on Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. You find it on Baby Mozart records, as well as earnest, serious recital on CDs. The trick here, of course, is that Mozart did not know this by its name, so you have to do a little bit of research to figure out what the tune really is. It's a French folk song called "A vous dirige maman." It's a theme and 12 variations, and it has been broken down into each variation on its own page, bite-sized PDFs, so that you can then the PDFs are better than screen resolution. These are printable, so if you are a pianist and you wanted to play this, you could print out the pieces for yourself. A little later, I'll see if I can find an audio track of this. A little bit about the online Mozart edition. Question, yes?
Could you actually search in this database for another one by a theme, a musical theme, and how would you type that in?
No.
No?
What you need for a musical theme is what's called a thematic catalog. For all of our major composers, including Mozart, we have a thick book that's called the thematic catalog or thematic index to all composers' works that includes incipits, which are the musical notation for the beginnings of the music to every piece and every movement of every piece. So the other way to find this would be to go to the thematic catalog for Mozart, thumb through till you find the part about the piano works, find the variations, and then look down until you see da 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 da. Ah, that's the one. That is how I found this thing originally.
But you can't really do that online.
You can't do that online yet. Someday, perhaps.
Patented, Jesse.
Yeah, right.
Right now,
Business
You
model.
could do it by voice, right? You could sing it.
There's voice recognition problems or standardization problems if you try to do it from a MIDI keyboard and send it somewhere. So they haven't really solved these problems yet, although there are people working on it, as I understand it. A good, excellent question. In the world of the future, perhaps you could just pick up the telephone, hum a few bars, and use your microphone. Okay, where are we? Stick to the program. Now, after this, another thing you can search for